out again. It's a rich thing.
Hey favorites, welcome back to another video, and as you can see by the title, this is my labor and delivery story. So I'm so excited to tell this story because it was a good experience. Like, it wasn't terrible at all. So I just wanted to bring you guys along so I can let you know what happened during my labor and delivery. We decided to have our baby delivered at Penn State Hershey Medical Center in Hershey, PA. So Hershey is about 20 minutes away from where we live, and we decided to go with that hospital because I did a lot of research and I like the doctors, I like the facility. I had a procedure done there prior to being pregnant. I actually got my tonsils removed I want to say 2 years ago when I got my tonsils removed at Penn State Hershey. So I just really liked the experience I had there. Everything was good. So that is where we chose to have our baby. I had my baby in September. So a month prior to that, I've been having Braxton Hicks contractions. If anybody is new here and you don't know what Braxton Hicks contractions are, they are like practice contractions for your body to prepare for real labor. I've been having those. They've been getting stronger and stronger later and later in pregnancy, but that's normal because your body is getting ready to have a baby. So I've been having these contractions, so I'm like, everything's normal, everything's good with these contractions, nothing to worry about. During the night of my labor, I went into labor, I want to say around midnight-ish is when the contractions started. Oh my God, they were so painful. And mind you, I thought they were Braxton Hicks contractions because my Braxton Hicks were so strong. I'm like, oh, this is normal for me. I just think they're normal, Braxton Hicks that I've been having. I was just sitting up in the bed, rubbing my stomach. I was crying a little bit because they were so strong, and it didn't dawn on me that I actually might be in labor. They were so strong, I was crying. I'm like, okay, cool, this is just regular what I've been having prior. I'm not in labor, like, I'm not worried about it. They wouldn't go away. So I'm just in bed, rubbing my stomach, trying to get comfortable, trying to like relax, take a deep breath, like let these contractions pass. Like I said, I didn't know they were real contractions. Malik is in the bed sleep next to me. It's about 12 midnight, going on 1 o'clock, and I'm just sitting there, trying to figure things out. And I started timing my contractions, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, so let me just time them just in case. So I started timing my contractions on my phone, and they were close together, like really, really close. I want to say they were like 7 to 8 minutes apart. Malik finally wakes up. He's next to me. He's rubbing my back, trying to, make me feel better or whatever. And he started doing some research on his phone. And I guess he looked up like what labor looks like, what does contractions look like, how close they are apart, whatever the case may be. And he was like, babe, I think you're in real labor. So I'm like, you think so? Like, are you serious? Like, I can't be, because I wasn't expecting to go into labor early. I actually was just expecting, to go to her due date or try to make it to her due date or make it past her due date, whatever the case may be. So he's like, yeah, I think you're in labor. I'm like, okay, cool. So what we gonna do? And he's like, do you want to go to the hospital? So we spent like, I want to say a good 10 minutes going back and forth, like trying to figure out if we want to go to the hospital or not, because I do not want to drive all the way to Hershey and then they tell me, oh no, you're not in labor, that was false labor, like you're good, you can go home. I definitely didn't want to get sent home, so I just wanted to make sure like I was in real labor. They was getting closer and closer together. I'm like, yeah, let's just go, because he finally convinced me. Malik gets up, he grabs his bag. We packed his hospital bag at the last minute, but he grabs his bag in the hallway. We get ready, we get dressed, we grab like some fruit, some water, so I can eat that on the way there. And we get in a car and we're driving. So we text my doctor. We text her, hey, I'm in labor, or I think I'm in labor. I'm on my way to the hospital. And she texts back, hey, that's great. It's time. Go there. You should be good. So then we called the hospital. And once we called the hospital and let them know, hey, this is my name. I think I'm in active labor. I'm on my way into the hospital. We get to the hospital and Malik drops me off at the front of the hospital. So he when you drive into the hospital, it's valet, and then it's the front doors to the labor and delivery. So he drops me off at the hospital, then he goes and valet the car and has his bags and everything, and he's coming back to check me into the hospital. So I go to the front desk when I walk in and let them know, hey, I just called, I'm in labor, you know, I need to go upstairs, whatever the case may be. I go sit in a chair across, like in a little waiting area in front of the desk, and them contractions was hitting hard, honey. Okay, they were not like small contractions, like they were hitting me hard. So the guy from behind the desk, he gets me a wheelchair, and he's like, hey, do you want to sit in the wheelchair, because we're about to take you upstairs? I'm like, yes, that's fine. Malik finally walks through the door, get his name badge thing, and then we head upstairs. So we go to the, I believe it was the 7th floor. We go to the labor and delivery floor, and we're up there, we're in the waiting area up there. We check in up there and say, hey, my name is Jasmine, I'm in active labor, blah blah blah. So once we do that, we're sitting in the waiting room. It's like another person there, so we go over towards like the little TV thing, and we're just talking, you know, I'm getting through the contractions and waiting for them to call me. So I'm like, all right, cool, like they're taking a really long time. Like me and Malik was like upset. I'm like, this is like annoying because y'all taking forever to get me in the back. Like, y'all don't know how far along I am. This baby could pop out any second, and y'all sitting here playing. The nurse finally comes out, comes to get me. She wants to take my weight, but as she's about to take my weight and I step on a scale, this contraction, oh my god, like I couldn't walk. I had to sit there until the contraction was gone. Like, it was so painful. We finally go into the triage room where they take my vitals and all that kind of stuff. They put me on a monitor to make sure baby is good. So I'm in the bed, I change into, you know, the hospital gown, and I'm in the bed just relaxing, me and Malik just chilling. By this time, I want to say it probably was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're in there, we're chilling, we're relaxing. Obviously I'm getting through the contractions as they keep coming. The nurse comes back in, introduces herself, let me know, you know, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to monitor you for a couple of hours to see if you're really in active labor. We're going to do a cervical check to make sure you're dilated enough to get admitted. So this is where things, you know, get on my nerves a little bit. So the resident comes in. She says she was a 3rd-year resident, I believe. And she comes in and she's like, yeah, this is my name, whatever. I'm a 3rd-year resident. I'm here to check your cervix. I have a problem with residents, right? And throughout my experiences within hospitals, you know, if I was sick or whatever the case may be when I go to hospitals, residents sometimes get on my nerves, okay? They get on my nerves because they're still learning. They don't have as much experience. And they just piss me off sometimes because they don't know what they're doing, right? And I get it. It's a learning environment. That's why you have student doctors and medical students, whatever. But I don't want to be practice on, okay? I don't want to be your test dummy. Okay, if something go wrong, then what? Y'all gonna be looking stupid. So I really don't like residents working on me. I don't like students working on me. Like, it just not my thing, right? But because I was in labor and because she was there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, like, I guess I didn't have a choice in a sense. She's like, hey, I'm about to check your cervix. So I'm like, okay, yes, that's fine, you know, whatever. So she goes down there, she's checking my cervix. It hurt. Okay, I don't know what she was doing, and I'm like, yo, like, this is why I hate dealing with residents. Like, I feel like y'all don't know what y'all doing. Like, it just pissed me off. Okay, it hurt like a lot. And after the fact, when she left and we got admitted into the real delivery room, I'm gonna get to that, Malik told me, oh yeah, it was a lot of blood when she was checking your cervix, but this was after the fact. And I'm just like, I just have a feeling that she don't know what she doing. Like, guess it's gonna be blood, but he said it was a lot. Before she leaves the room, she tells me I'm 4 centimeters dilated, and I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, that's pretty far, you know, being at home that whole time thinking I wasn't in labor at all, to getting there, and I'm 4 centimeters dilated. So I was excited. But yeah, like I said, her checking, it hurt. I didn't think she knew what she was doing in the first place. So yeah, I was just like, I don't like her. Some time passes and I'm in the room, you know, bouncing on a ball, dealing with the contractions and all that kind of stuff. The nurse comes back in and she's like, are you ready? They're going to admit you. They're going to keep you. We're going to move you to the real room that you're going to be giving birth in. We gather all our things. We walk to the other room because it was right down the hall. Like, it was literally like 10 steps. So it was right down the hall. Of course, I'm having contractions as I'm walking. So I was just like pausing and then continue to walk. So we finally get in the room, get in the bed, all that kind of stuff. We put our stuff down. Malik is in like the little chair thing. Was it a chair? Yeah, it's like a little yeah, it's like a little pull-out chair, like a recliner. So he's sitting there, and then they had a couch along the wall. They had like a mirror in there. I'm gonna give you guys like a view of the room. I found the video that I have of the room. The nurse comes back in, she checks my arm, you know, looking for a vein so she can give me an IV and give me some hydration and all that kind of stuff. So she pokes this arm first and she's trying to put the IV in, couldn't get it. Now, mind you, that's time number 1. She tries again. Number 2, didn't get a poke. She said the vein blew or something like that and she couldn't get it in. She comes to this arm. She tries again. This is the 3rd time that she has tried to poke me and she couldn't get the dang IV in my arm. So I was just so irked, like, oh my God, like that. And that needle hurt, okay? I don't care what nobody say. That needle really, really, really hurt. And she steady trying to poke. And I'm like, lady, you not getting it. And she's like, she was like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm sorry I had to poke you so many times. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's okay, I understand. So she goes to get another nurse. The nurse comes in and she pokes me twice. Why would she try to poke me 2 more times? She poked me twice and she couldn't get it the first time. She barely can get it the second time, but she finally got it. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, the first nurse who was poking me on this arm, she had to bring in a vein finder to find a vein to poke, and when she poked it, it still didn't work. So I was just like, this is too much. Like, they poked me up 5 times. I still have like little dots on my arm where they put the IV. These contractions started getting worse. Oh my God. I didn't think that they were going to be this bad, guys. Like, you guys probably think I'm exaggerating. These contractions hurt so bad, and I underestimated them because I would hear labor and delivery stories on TikTok, on YouTube, and stuff like that. And they would say, oh, you know, I did it natural. I didn't have any epidural, any medicine, nothing. Those contractions felt like somebody was just punching me in the same spot over and over and over again. Like, they hurt. The pain was like, it's undescribable. Like, I don't understand how we are able to do this. Like, I'm glad we're able to do it. My plan overall was to go in there and have a natural birth, right? My plan was to not get an epidural, any medication. I just wanted to try, you know, whatever. I did some research on, you know, what's in epidurals and stuff like that. And it wasn't like, oh, more pro than more cons. Like, it wasn't that kind of thing. Like, either you get an epidural or you don't. Like, either you like them or you don't. I had packed a stuffed animal, well, group, I'll insert group somewhere. I packed him and I packed a wooden comb because I heard that, you know, if you squeeze the comb or you squeeze something, the counter pressure will take your mind and distract you from contractions. So that's what I packed. I would try anything prior to getting an epidural. The anesthesiologist comes in and he's, you know, running down, you know, all the things that could happen with an epidural, and he asked me, do you want one? And I'm like, I'm only 4 centimeters. I'm like, no, I'm gonna try to go further, and then if I do want one, I'll let you know, but right now I don't want an epidural. So he's like, okay, well, can you sign a consent form that you do want one so you don't have to sign it while you're in like crazy pain later on down the line? So I signed a consent form, and you know, if I wanted an epidural, I can just get it immediately. The midwife comes in, she introduces herself again along with the resident. Just let me know what the game plan is. She's like, all right, well, we'll see you in a couple of hours. We're gonna let you dilate, blah blah blah. So I get out of bed and I walk around trying to deal with the pain that I'm having and things like that. When I say it just took a turn, like the pain came up a notch. Like I was like, oh my God, like it was just too much. As I'm progressing, my doctor comes in, who's been seeing me this whole time throughout my pregnancy, my OB. She comes in and checks on me, you know, make sure everything's good. We really built a relationship with her. So she just coming in, like she's not working or anything like that. She just comes to the hospital, checks on me, and she goes and changes into her scrubs and stuff, and she is the one who breaks my water for me. Just because like I wanted her to be the one who delivered my baby. But like I said, timing just wasn't it. Like she was just off that day. But she came in, she broke my water. We were just talking and chit-chatting. Her and Malik went downstairs to get breakfast, to get coffee and stuff like that. But yeah, she broke my water for me, so that was good. She leaves, you know, she wishes me luck and all that kind of stuff. She says she's going to text me to check on me later on. The resident comes back in. Me and Malik look at each other like, oh my God, like, why is she back? She says, oh, I think she's about 5 to 6 centimeters. So she's looking at the nurse like, unsure. Like, I don't want to say 6. I don't want to say 5 to 6. Like, I like, do you think she's 5 to 6? How are you asking the nurse in my 5 to 6 centimeters when she's not the one even checking? Hey guys, I had to come in really quick and let you guys know that this is where things get a little bad. When I was 4 centimeters, the pain was bearable. When I hit those 5 to 6 centimeters, oh my God, when I say I couldn't take it, I literally could not take it. Like, it felt so bad that I needed an epidural at this point. The anesthesiologist comes in and he's like, okay, you ready? Like, he's setting up his little field, his little stuff. And he's like, okay, you're ready. This is what I need you to do. So I turn to the side of the bed. I'm bent over, holding on to Malik, holding his hand, because he's like, you know, I'm about to go in. I'm about to poke you with the needle. Just stay really still. Like, don't move. Everything's going to be fine. So I was having a contraction while he was putting the needle in my back. Like, that was the worst. So I'm bent over. I'm like, oh my God, this shit hurt. Like, hurry up. Like, oh my God. I was just in so much pain. So he put the epidural in. He said the catheter was in. He taped my back up. Everything was good. So I lean over to the side. He's like, you know, just to make sure it evens out, you know, make sure you rotate your body. So the epidural took on my whole right side. It took on my whole left side, except for where my ovaries are. So I just felt like all this pain and all my contractions in that one spot. So it was so painful. I'm like, okay, we waited a few, you know, just to see if it would kick in. It did not kick in. We told the nurse it didn't kick in that one spot. So he came back down and he was like, okay, well, we can give you something called a bolus to make that area, you know, less painful, whatever, and make the epidural go that way. So I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, let's do that. So he put that in my IV. About 20 minutes later, I felt nothing. My body was so numb from about my belly button down. Like, oh my God, the epidural is amazing. Okay, I felt no more contractions. I didn't feel any pain. The only thing I felt was more like pressure going on down there. Like, I could still feel me pushing. I could still feel all that kind of stuff. But it literally, like, I felt nothing. It felt amazing to have that epidural. Nurses and doctor come back in to check me one more time, and the resident said like a number like 8 centimeters or something like that. I don't exactly remember. And the midwife checks finally, and no, I'm not 8 centimeters. I'm ready to push. I am 10 centimeters dilated. And the midwife told her like, no, she's ready to go. Proves my point. I don't like residents. Why didn't you know that I was 10 centimeters? Like, what's going on? We were ready to go. Like, we were ready to go. So I'm glad that she was there, so she know that I was actually 10 centimeters ready to push the baby out. They laid the bed back. I'm getting ready. Malik's on my side. A nurse over here. They're down there, you know, ready to get me together. So as we are pushing within this moment, another nurse walks through the door. The nurse walks through the door and start talking to the resident who's down there. Literally, while I'm about to push or pushing, she's down there, and then the nurse comes in and just having regular conversation. Like, we was like, excuse me? Like, what the hell is going on? Malik was like getting pissed. Like, he was looking at her like, lady, this is not the time for that. Like, why would you sit here and have a whole conversation about nothing? I'm sitting here ready to push the baby out. I need you to be in this moment. Like, you're doing too much. She finally leaves. We're ready to push. We start pushing. You know, the whole tuck your chin, take a deep breath, push out. So I pushed, I want to say, for about an hour in total before the baby was born. I want to say I pushed in increments of 4. They say, you know, push 3 times, count to 10. I did 4 because, like, I just wanted the baby out. Like, everything was good. The pushing was an experience. Like I said, I didn't feel very much, but I did feel her, like, you know, coming out slowly more and more. They did have a mirror in the room, and we set up the mirror so where I was laying back, I was able to see her head coming out, you know, as I'm pushing. So that was a good motivation for her, you know, to come out even faster, for me to, you know, push and just stay confident and, you know, stay positive and, you know, push the baby out. I did feel that last push of her whole body coming out, like, it just felt a little weird. Even though I was numb, I felt something, and it just felt weird. But she was born. They put her on my chest immediately. We did the delayed cord clamping, and then Malik cut the umbilical cord. The nurse took pictures of him cutting the cord. She was still on my chest, you know, everything was good, just laying there. I was like warming her up, wiping her mouth and stuff like that. They were cleaning her off while she was on me. But yeah, it was a really good experience. She was born at 5:56 p.m. and yeah, I really enjoyed that experience of the birth of my daughter. Like, it was so crazy. Like, I was crying. Like, it was just a crazy amount of emotion that came over me when I finally saw her, and then they laid her on me. Like, it was something. Like, I was just looking at Malik, I was looking at her, I was looking at him, I was looking at her. I was like, oh my god, like, this is really like my baby. Like, oh my goodness. I enjoyed it so much in terms of, you know, the moment, the atmosphere that I said. Like, it was something. Like, I can say that I have never felt anything like that before. I can say that this love between being a parent and your child is something unimaginable, is different, and I obviously would do it again because I do want more children. Like, I would do it again. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and maybe that has something to do with the epidural in my experience, but it was amazing. I just wanted to let you guys know what happened in my labor and delivery. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure you leave a comment and subscribe to my channel because there will be more mommy content. There will be self-care content, all that kind of stuff. Just living my life, honestly. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.